Hey y'all, and we back, y'all. We back with David Tesla. We talking about Celeste Rivas, and we back with uh News Nations, who don't got so much about this case that they haven't even televised it yet. But she has a whole lot. Actually, has a whole lot about this case. Now, what I say is alleged. Now, this is for educating criticism and coming purposes. Now, she has some updates on this case. Now, I'm just concerned about how her body get in that Tesla. Why is a 13 or 14-year-old girl running away so much to be with an older guy like David and David Young itself? What's going on with the Tesla? Why is the Tesla leaving whoever in his car before they went out of town, took the Tesla from the house and drove it around the corner with the body already in it? Now, y'all, why would you do her like that? Do David want children? Or he don't want children? What is it? What is it? She know too much? What is it? Well, we'll see from News Nation what they has to say.
Here. First of all, as it turns out, the LAPD finally decided to talk and confirm some things and then refused to confirm others. First and foremost, one of the biggest theories when it came to this young woman and why she might have been dead in the trunk was that she might have been pregnant. Well, now the reports are in. We've got the medical examiner's information, and not only does it tell you about her current condition, it tells you about her whole year and whether she'd been pregnant before, all the way throughout the last 12 months. We're going to tell you all of that. And the manager, remember the manager who was reported to have a Tesla in the garage bay at David's $20 million a month mansion?
Josh,
The guy in a mask
Marshall.
drove off with the red Tesla. It turns out it's registered to a manager, not necessarily the manager, but that manager's talking, and the person he's talking to joins me tonight to talk about their conversation. Then,
What?
in the Bay Area, this is so bizarre. I don't know how you're going to react to this.
I told you.
There is an attacker in broad daylight who has now injured 5 people by attack.
Do y'all think, I'm just asking y'all a question, because we got to hear from y'all too. Do y'all believe she was pregnant? How many weeks was she pregnant? How many times she been pregnant? Or did David put her in the Tesla? What do you think? Put it in the comment section. Don't be afraid to speak your opinion.
Rewrites the timeline of the case as we've come to know it has surfaced. Video was recorded at the home of Celeste's parents in Lake Elsinore, California, exactly a year ago, or a year before her body was found in the trunk of a car belonging to the rising music star named David. We had been told that Celeste went missing in April of 2024 and that her family hadn't seen her since. But this new video was recorded by a Nest camera on September 8th, 2024, which would make that 4 months after she ran away.
Right.
The neighbors
Listen to what she said now, y'all. Y'all remember we was talking about going backwards in 2024, last year, September last year. Pay attention.
provided the video to TMZ say that it shows her arguing with people who had pulled a prank on her. Take a look.
Let me talk real quick, okay? You gonna let me talk? No, you ain't gonna let me talk. Why you not gonna let me talk? You tripping? Nah, you tripping? Salvador, you tripping?
Oh my god.
Nah, cause you tripping. Move the out of here.
You better get on there. Get your on there, little girl.
Just by the very dates of this video seems to prove that Celeste
She had a foul mouth too.
Family at least once after she ran away for the last time. But a year and a half after the final missing person report was filed, her body was discovered in a frunk. That's the front trunk of David's Tesla. That was just 3 weeks discovered, as we're finally learning what's been going on behind the scenes of the investigation, the LAPD's captain and commanding officer released a statement saying that the body of Celeste Rivas Hernandez was likely in the trunk of the Tesla for a long time before it was discovered. According to Captain Scott Williams, quote, "We know for sure that Celeste Rivas Hernandez died and someone placed her body in the front trunk."
Well, we said that. Oh, I said that. I told y'all that. Somebody placed her body in the front trunk. Duh, we know that. We know she didn't do it. We know that the Tesla had been parked at the location from which it was towed for several weeks. We said that. That's when I started going backwards, further back. Celeste Hernandez had been unalive for several weeks prior to her body being discovered. I said that. Y'all remember that. So, in other words, what new do LAP has that we don't know? Okay? The simple fact is why David hasn't been arrested. And if David hasn't been arrested, why hasn't anyone been arrested? Okay, so now that we know that the Tesla was registered in somebody else's name, what are they saying? All right, y'all.
Area of David Burke's Tesla. We know that the Tesla had been parked at the location from which it was towed for several weeks. So it is very likely Celeste Rivas Hernandez had been dead for several weeks prior to her body being discovered. I know. You don't think it's a big deal because it's like, yeah, we know all that, right? Not really. Like, this is the police finally confirming it, and they have been, it was a thing. But that really does track with our reporting last week when we spoke with a private investigator who tracked down the tow reports for this Tesla. And they showed that neighbors had called police about that car on August the 26th. Police responded the next day and ticketed the car as per protocol. They got to wait 72 hours between each of the tickets they put on there. And after 3 visits, then they can tow the car.
What? 72 hours and 3 tickets? Oh, wow. This some bull. That's the law, y'all. That's the law in different states, I guess.
The second ticket came September 3rd, and the Tesla was finally towed September 5th. So by our math, police were involved with the car for a week and a half. But the neighbors who lived nearby said the Tesla had already spent close to a month abandoned.
But listen, the LAPD said that the car has to be there for 72 hours, but the people out there been complaining, the neighbors been complaining, said it been out there for months, for a month. What is going on here, y'all? Why was they are so afraid to touch that Tesla?
On that side road. And by the way, incidentally, it was just one street over from David's $20,000 a month mansion that his manager was renting. Tesla was registered in David's legal name, David Burke. The 20-year-old singer has not been arrested.
So, excuse me. I thought she said that Tesla would register in somebody else's name. I'll go back to make Fats chat that. But now she said it's registered in David's name. Okay, let me go back and hear what she said about that, okay?
Nor has he been named a suspect. But his friends confirmed to TMZ last week that he was indeed in a romantic relationship with a 14-year-old girl, Celeste.
Okay, so I got a problem, y'all, with that. If it's a fact that he was in love with a 14-year-old girl, why hasn't he been arrested or either charged for that part? They would have arrested everybody else, but they didn't arrest David.
Social media posts indicate they may have even known each other since she was 12 and maybe even 11. Captain Williams responded to the friend's characterization by saying, quote, "As far as their relationship, it would be premature for me to say anything. We are looking into everything."
Wow.
One piece of the puzzle that has yet to be determined is Celeste's cause of death. The medical examiner has deferred a cause while they await the toxicology results. But one thing they have determined is that Celeste Rivas Hernandez was not pregnant when she died.
She was not pregnant. So the answer to the first part of the question that I asked y'all at the beginning, if you say yes, no, she wasn't pregnant. But it's okay, at least you did try to answer it. But no, she wasn't pregnant at all. But we knew that because I told y'all that after I done my research. Trust me.
She had not even been pregnant in the past year either. There was a lot of speculation
Right.
online that
She
may have
never been
with
pregnant.
David's child. Maybe that was what led to all of this. But as for David, his reps say that he is, quote, fully cooperating with the authorities. When Celeste's body was first discovered, that's what they said, back on September 8th. That was one day after Celeste's 15th birthday, during which she was decomposing in that trunk. But interestingly, Captain Williams would not confirm that David is still cooperating. David's been off the grid. He said exactly nothing about Celeste, about her dying, nor did he ever mention a thing about her birthday. And remember, her birthday was the day before her body was found, and we all discovered this name, Celeste Rivas Hernandez. So if she was his girlfriend, why no mention of her birthday? Especially if technically, if he's innocent, he doesn't even know yet that she's dead. Or in the trunk.
I agree with you, Ashley.
One person who is talking is his manager, Josh Marshall. David had been living in a mansion, I said, in Hollywood Hills. Here it is. Lise was the manager, right? Some reports suggested that Marshall was also living in that house along with the singer. A red Tesla was driven out of the garage last week by a masked man, and the plates, according to a KTLA reporter who was at the scene, traced back to David's management.
Hold up. So David's manager came up from over there. How he come out of that house under that garage with a red Tesla? And they was mentioning to us earlier that the Tesla can't park on the inside of the garage due to the fact of what's in the garage. It's like a gym. Y'all remember I mentioned that? That they don't park, they park the car on the street? Okay, but so this is here go the manager right here, Josh. Here go Josh Marshall.
The manager, though, Josh Marshall says, is denying the accusations on TikTok that this is his car. He uses the handle JMogul. His post was in response to a TikTok video accusing him of being involved in Celeste's death. And Marshall wrote this in response, quote, I had zero knowledge of anything, and I don't live in California. I work remotely.
So why did you rent the house out, David? The owner of the house. Y'all remember I showed y'all some information. Please check the upload information that I got out there too. Now, the manager, the house was rented out to the manager. But David lived there. Just because you doesn't stay there doesn't mean you didn't sign the papers there.
85% of the time, and my job doesn't require me to have much interaction with any of my clients / David, as there are many others that work with him on a day-to-day capacity. Not me. LA Magazine confirmed that Josh Marshall was in fact behind those TikTok comments. The headline reads, Josh Marshall breaks silence on TikTok amid Celeste Rivas Hernandez investigation. Lauren Conlon was the writer of that piece, also the host of the Outlier podcast, and she joins me now live. It was a really good break, you being able to connect with Josh Marshall to get him to confirm these things. Did he say anything else? Did he mention anything about where his client David is right now?
No, Ashley, and truthfully, I saw these comments on TikTok on this random video. I could not believe it, and I'm thinking to myself, it's been weeks. There have been so many allegations. Josh Marshall has not said anything yet, so, you know, in order to file this story, I really had to make sure that it was him, and these messages were authentic. So I messaged him, not really expecting to get a response. I did some diligence, so I was about 98% sure it was him. And he did write back, and he just confirmed that it was him, and he just stood by his statements, and that was it. So
Okay, then that was him. He's speaking out. Why y'all don't believe it's him? It is a homicide. I wonder why they keep saying they're trying to determine from her autopsy that it's a homicide. Because they said deferred. What do you think it is? What do you think it is? You, oh Lord have mercy. I'm gonna let God handle it.
For an accident victim, or maybe even took her own life. In a statement to News Nation, the LAPD captain overseeing the investigation said the following, quote,
In other words, they trying to say she took her own life. Somebody put her in a bag and hid her in the trunk. So they don't have no part of this. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm gonna leave that up to y'all. Robbery homicide division investigation into the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And I'm gonna put this out here right here for you all as well. The Los Angeles Police Department robbery homicide division has been diligently, excuse me, y'all, investigating the death of Celeste Rivas over the past several weeks. At this time, we can confirm that the Celeste Hernandez is deceased. And her body was found in the front trunk area of the Tesla belonging to David Burke. The vehicle had been parked at the location from which it was towed for several weeks. So Hernandez may have been deceased for several weeks before the discovery of the body. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner has not yet determined the cause of manner. Ms. Hernandez death as such as remain unclear whether there is a criminal culpability beyond the concealment of her body. RHD is thoroughly examining every aspect of this case to uncover the truth and seek justice for Rivas and her family. And then he put at the bottom right there, we appreciate the public's patience and understanding as we continue this investigation. Further updates will be provided as appropriate. But at the time, we are unable to answer additional questions. After reading that information, people, y'all remember last week when we covered this case? Cover the case every day. Make sure you check my upload videos, okay? Because there's some important information inside of those upload videos. You remember the LAPD said that this was a homicide, but now they saying it may not be a homicide. Weird.
medical examiner doesn't even have Celeste's remains anymore. Those were given back to her family.
Right.
So, last week. My next guest is a private investigator specializing in missing persons who's been looking into the mystery of Celeste's death. Steve Fisher, welcome back to the show. Let's just dig right into that. Last week, we've got the Chief of Police, Jim McDonough, saying, whenever you investigate a homicide, you look at all the associated issues as well, and that's something they'd certainly be looking at when asked about this case. That I perked up. There he was talking about a homicide and the associated issues. Now we're hearing from his LAPD captain. It remains unclear whether there's any criminal culpability beyond the concealment of her body. How does this square with you? Is this a misstatement? Are they one hand's not talking to the other?
Two wildly different statements, right? I think that
Right.
trafficking, sex crimes against an 11 to 14-year-old girl.
Yeah.
It's like they're,
It's crazy.
looking at. I know that there was a statement that looking at all the relationship, but when it came to the criminal part, it did not bring that up, and that's just horrible as far as I'm concerned. That's the worst part. Actually, a good sign for the rest of the autopsy, because if they were able to
Listen, y'all. Hold up, y'all. What I can't understand is how can they determine was she pregnant or not? How? If the body would decomposed.
But when it came to the criminal part, it did not bring that up, and that's just horrible as far as I'm concerned. That's the worst part.
Or maybe he's just waiting for David to talk to someone, and there it is. There's the evidence. He's mentioned it himself. He thought he was in the clear. We gave him a long leash, and he hung himself with it. Maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know. Quick question about pregnancy. That was huge to me when they said that she was not pregnant, nor had she been pregnant for a year. It was huge to me. Do you think it complicates anything, or do you think it just rules that part out?
I think it's actually a good sign for the rest of the autopsy, because if they were able to determine that means that they probably did so through HCG hormone tests, which they got from probably the vitreous humor gel that's behind the eyeball. So that means that they will also be able to get full toxicology. She wasn't in such a state where they lost that. So if they were able to make this determination about pregnancy, then they can also get the toxicology and find out exactly what was in her system, how much.
Exactly.
From there, and determine if that's accidental, or if.
Listen to what he just said, y'all. If they can determine whether she was pregnant or not, evidently the toxicology report is completed, because that's part of inside your system. So they have the information about Rivas. And by the way, they gave the body to the family so quick. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Like, share, and subscribe. I'm out. And y'all have a good day. Good Sunday. Okay, I'll see you Monday.